The Moudiewark, or Moudiewark, was a mole, and moles were used in bawdy songs due to the symbolic reference to their tunneling qualities. This is from the Merry Muses of Caledonia, Robert Burns's collection of bawdy/erotic songs, published 3 years after he died. I've come to believe that he wrote most of this, and I'll tell you why after I sing it. The Moudiewark has done me ill, and below my apron has biggit a hill. I maun consult some learned clerk about this wanton modiewark. And oh, the wanton modiewark, the weary wanton modiewark. I maun consult some learned clerk about this wanton modiewark. Oh, first it gat between my taes, who tore my garter, niest it gaes. At length it crept below my sark, the weary wanton modiewark. And oh, the wanton modiewark, the weary wanton modiewark. At length it crept below my sark, the weary wanton modiewark. This modiewark, though it be blin, if ance its nose you let it in, then tae the hilts within a crack, it's out to sect the modiewark. And oh, the wanton modiewark, the weary wanton modiewark, then tae the hilts within a crack, it's out to sect the modiewark. When Marjorie was made a bride, and Willy lay down by her side, Syne Nocht was heard when all was dark, but kicking at the modiewark. And oh, the wanton modiewark, the weary wanton modiewark. Syne Nocht was heard when all was dark, but kicking at the modiewark. So, the modiewark. The mole has done me ill, and below my apron has biggit a hill, has built a hill. I must consult some learned clerk about this wanton modiewark. At first it got between my toes, across my garter next it goes. At length it crept beneath my sark, my long shirt, my smock. The weary wanton modiewark. This modiewark, though it be blin, though it be blind, if once its nose you let it in, then to the hilts within a crack it's out of sight, the modiewark. Within a crack, in a crack meant suddenly or instantly. So there's a pun there. Now there's another pun with at length it crept below my sark. At length it crept. So at length meaning eventually and also at length. I'm not sure how long a mole is, but when Marjorie was made a bride and Willy lay down by her side, then naught was heard when all was dark, but kicking at the modiewark. So the tune is Burns wrote a song called "Oh for Ane and 20 Tom," and that was printed in the Scots Musical Museum. And he actually wrote to his second publisher and complained about the setting of the melody, said it did not please him. And so I've gone, almost none of the melodies in the Scots Musical Museum please me. I've gone to a book of 1740, Walsh's Caledonian Country Dances 3. And there it's called the Moudiewark, spelled Mowdewort. Burns actually spelled the tune Moudiewort. Now in the museum, this is where this was printed, they were not good spellers, and they spelled it the modiewark instead of the Moudiewark. Wart and wark were both used. But in their index, they actually spelled it M-O-U, which is how Burns spelled it. So, why do I think Burns wrote this? The first thing I was sure he wrote was the second verse. You've got this kind of, it's sneaking up on her, you know, and it starts with these G sounds, soft G sounds that harden to 3 K sounds in the second 2 lines. Well, first it gat between my toes, ut o'er my garter, niest it gaes. Gat between my taes, ut o'er my garter, niest it gaes. At length it crap below my sark, the weary wanton modiewark. And then I'm singing this because I'm learning it. Singing in the car on the way to Michigan. And God, all those short I sounds here in the third verse. You'd expect, if it's called a folk song, people think he collected a folk song, but you'd expect him to say again, the modiewark, though it be blind, but he says this modiewark. And there's all these short I sounds in there. This modiewark, though it be blin, if ance its nose you let it in, then to the hilts within a crack it suit a sect the modiewark. That's Burnsian poetry there. Now what's odd here is this last verse, when Marjorie was made a bride. It seems like a floating verse from another song. The other thing is that wanton is it meant playful in Scots. It didn't have a specifically sexual connotation as it does here in the United States in this time in history anyway. So he liked those W alliterations, like in the Burks of Aberfeldy, and lightly flit on wanton wing, and Lizzie was a wanton widow in the Halloween poem. How wanton thy waters her snowy feet lave, those W alliterations, this weary wanton modiewark. But what really convinced me that this is by Burns is William Motherwell was a collector. I was born, I think, a year after Burns. He was a collector of oral tradition songs and ballads, and a poet himself. And he said he was given these words to the old song. And these were the words of the old song, the folk song that he had. And it's Moudiewark again, as it is in the dance collections. So this says, I have gotten a braw new gown, this version collected by Motherwell, and Jamie's gotten a waistcoat oat. I bade the tailor gie me room, 'cause Geordie bevel the body oat. Geordie arranged the body of it. The Moudiewark's a wily beast, a cunning wee beast, the Moudiewark. I biggit my hoose at the fit of yon brae. I built my house at the foot of yon slope. And he crept in at the gable oat. He crept in at the gable of it. Gable is the gable of a house, and it's also used as the crotch of a woman in a lot of these bawdy songs. So, got the word crap in both, and biggit, but I think Burns, this is largely his creation, this version of the modiewark. Moudiewark. You notice he rhymes all the way through with it. I have one more thing to say, which is the only person I've heard sing this is Ewan MacColl on an album called The Wanton Muse, which I bought directly from Ewan at the Singers Club in London in 1977. I met him there and bought a couple of his albums directly from him. They were like £2.10, or he wanted to sell them at a reasonable price. He bought out the record label, I think. And anyway, what he does with it, he took the tune from the museum, Scots Musical Museum, and because Burns's song, Oh, for Ain and 20 Tom, had started with the chorus, anyway, he switched the parts. And I'm taking it literally and putting the high part on the chorus. He did the opposite. And I think it's very effective. The other thing is, in the museum it says, after the first verse, I mun consult some learned clerk about this wanton modiewark. And oh, the wanton modiewark, the weary wanton modiewark, I mun consult some learned clerk about this wanton modiewark. And then after each verse it just says, and oh, comma, etc. Now, MacColl sings, I must consult some learned clerk every time. But it occurred to me, because I was singing it in the car on the way to Michigan, that what that first chorus is saying is to go, oh, the wanton modiewark, the weary wanton modiewark, and the last two lines of the preceding verse. Because I must consult some learned clerk, it just gets old. And it's not really chorus-like, it's part of that verse. And then, so that's how I've done it. It's different. And I've also got a better set of the tune. So I can say without fear of contradiction, it's a better set of the tune. That's all I can tell you today. The Moudiewark. The next song I'll do, I believe, is and I actually have a different setting of the melody that fits Burns's words, I think, a little better, which is from another one of the old dance collections. Can't remember the name of it right now. Anyway, that's another great song. Coming up, please do subscribe to my channel and work for peace. Be well.